The facts are the facts. I do not think this shooting was racially motivated.
Charges dropped against 2 Atlanta police officers in the deadly shooting of Rayshard Brooks.
Black lives do matter. This isn't one of those cases.
Brooks' death happened in the middle of a movement here in Atlanta and all across the nation. People protesting and pushing for police accountability.
Police shootings are the tip of the iceberg.
You have to be fair to officers and you have to be fair to citizens.
Tonight we have live team coverage on the controversial decision and the community's reaction. More than 2 years have gone by since Rayshard Brooks was shot and killed by Atlanta police in a Wendy's parking lot.
So special prosecutor Pete Skandalakis determined it was reasonable for the officers to use deadly force. Officer Garrett Rolfe and Devin Brosnan faced a number of charges, including murder for Rolfe, since he fired that deadly shot. But once again, all the charges have been dropped.
We have team coverage for you tonight. Joe Ripley is in South Atlanta with reaction from the community where this happened. And Doug Richards is looking at how this case has changed policing in Atlanta. But we begin this evening with Joe Hinkey breaking down why the special prosecutor is making this decision.
Well, Jennifer, we're here at the office of the special prosecutor, Pete Skandalakis. It was here at his office today that Skandalakis, along with former Gwinnett County District Attorney Danny Porter, who helped with this investigation, broke down the evidence and the video frame by frame and detailed the decision to drop the charges.
Brosnan and Rolfe committed no crimes. Both acted as reasonable officers would under the facts and circumstances of the events of that night.
Pete Skandalakis this afternoon announcing he found as Atlanta police officers Garrett Rolfe and Devin Brosnan attempted to restrain and arrest Rayshard Brooks for a suspected DUI in June of 2020, they were within their rights under Georgia law and Atlanta police policy to use deadly force.
What did the officer know at that time, at that moment, at that split second? We here in this room have plenty of time to decide what we're going to do next. We don't have plenty of time to decide what we're going to do if one of us decides to go after the other.
Skandalakis says himself, retired prosecutor Danny Porter and a team of experts reviewed all of the evidence in the case and found the officers had no way of knowing when they attempted to arrest Brooks. Within seconds, he would attack and overpower them, take one of their tasers, fire the taser, attempt to escape, and continue to fire the taser at Rolfe as he pursued Brooks. Porter says Rolfe was allowed to use deadly force for several reasons, including because deadly force was being used toward him.
Under case law in Georgia, which is part of our review, a taser can be considered a deadly weapon for these purposes.
Skandalakis today said Rolfe fired his gun 1.1 seconds after Brooks fired the taser toward Rolfe as he attempted to run away. Rolfe then fired 3 shots in just over half a second. A frame-by-frame review of all video and evidence led to the decision to drop the charges against the officers. Back in 2020, then Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard charged the officers within 5 days of the shooting, a decision Skandalakis disagrees with after an in-depth review of the case.
Some of the things that were reported earlier came out when we really analyzed it, just weren't there.
And Skandalakis and Porter spent about an hour and a half going through all the evidence and answering questions this afternoon. I asked Skandalakis what happens next for those charges against Rolfe and Brosnan. He tells me he will now formally file a court filing in Fulton County that should then drop the charges and effectively end his handling of this case.